I used Lexapro for about a year, and I took Lexapro to deal with my anxiety, and it really did work. I noticed that after a week or two, my anxiety symptoms were mostly gone, and I felt a lot more confident. I felt better, but I still decided to quit using Lexapro and to make a switch, and I'm going to tell you in this video why I decided to do that. So I have three main reasons why I decided to stop using Lexapro. And I think the first one, and I also think the most important one for me, is that while Lexapro really did work for my anxiety, so I really noticed that most of my anxiety symptoms were gone. I felt a lot more confident. I really did notice that situations that before would really make me nervous or gave me all of these thoughts that would make me feel more anxious or panicky, those feelings were gone. So that was amazing. But the downside of that is that while the anxiety feelings are gone, also the more positive feelings and emotions are also way less. So I really did notice, and it's a really common side effect of this kind of medication, of an antidepressant or an SSRI, the kind of antidepressant that I've been using. So that blunting of emotions, that's it's a quite common side effect. And some people might like that. So some people might really enjoy the fact that it's way more stable, that you don't have these really kind of peaks in emotions. So it's not that much of a roller coaster. But I also noticed that after a year, I kind of missed those emotions as well. And I really noticed that I didn't feel as excited anymore before going to certain events, or not feeling as enthusiastic as I did before. So that is, I think, the main reason for me, that I felt like, okay, is this really something that I want to experience for the rest of my life or for the upcoming years? Or is it something that I need to explore if there are maybe other antidepressants or other medications that also work for me, but that doesn't really blunt that emotional aspect? So that is the main reason for me that I decided to stop using Lexapro. And the second reason for me why I decided to stop using Lexapro is that I really did notice that my appetite really increased. Beforehand, I could really feel when I was full. That it was really a sign for me that I noticed, okay, I'm getting full now, I should stop eating. And then that was a signal that I learned to listen to, and that really worked for me. It made me prevent overeating. And what I noticed using Lexapro was that signal was kind of gone, or it really took a longer amount of time before that signal kicked in. I could just eat way more, and I also noticed that I was thinking about food way more. So I really felt that I needed carbs and sugar, and still that is a thing for me that I'm working on. But I noticed that it was way more than I did before. And at first it felt kind of superficial, that it shouldn't be a reason to stop using Lexapro because of the weight gain. But at the other hand, I also thought that it doesn't really help me in the end if I notice that I just keep gaining weight. And it really makes me insecure, and it makes me also less confident again. That's kind of, defeats the purpose also of using Lexapro. So for me, it is a big reason also to stop using Lexapro and to keep looking for another type of medication that doesn't really influence that part. And the third reason, and I think a really important reason, and a reason that has something to do with the first thing or the first point that I made, is that also with the blunting of emotions and feeling stuff, also my libido changed. At first I thought, well, it's not really big of a deal, and it doesn't really matter. And I beforehand I thought it shouldn't be really of an issue, and I don't think it's the biggest issue, but it's also a thing that is just less intense, and also I think a part of life that is important, and a feeling that is again kind of, yeah, is taken away. And that sounds maybe really heavy. But yeah, I think that's also a part for me. I thought, okay, is this really something that I want to continue feeling like this for the upcoming years? Or is it worth looking for something else that doesn't really influence my libido like Lexapro does? So I decided to switch from Lexapro to another antidepressant. And what I am on now is Wellbutrin. And Wellbutrin is not a really typical antidepressant, and it's not something that they decide to give you first when you come to a psychiatrist or to a doctor. It's not like the first choice of drugs that they give you or medication that they give you. But I wanted to switch to Wellbutrin because I've read that Lexapro, it's an SSRI, so it works on your serotonin. And it's actually the serotonin, so this neurotransmitter, that kind of causes the side effects that I was just talking about. So my unwanted side effects. What Wellbutrin does, it doesn't work on the serotonin, so it's not an SSRI, but this works on your dopamine and on noradrenaline. So way different mechanism, but yeah, like I said, I read that a lot of people also experience positive effects with respect to their anxiety. For me, it is something that I thought, okay, this is interesting to find out if it works for me. This day, when I'm filming this video, I've been using Wellbutrin for about 3 weeks now, and I only tapered off with my Lexapro for 1 week. So that is quite short, and I've been using 10 milligrams of Lexapro before, and what I did was that for 1 week I took 5 milligrams of Lexapro, and then after that I immediately switched to Wellbutrin. And then with the Wellbutrin I also started immediately on the 150 milligrams, and I've been using the 150 milligrams for 3 weeks now. And the following things I've noticed with switching up the Lexapro to the Wellbutrin. And number one here, and that's the first point also that I made with the side effects of the Lexapro, is that I do notice that my emotions are more intense again, and I feel way more positive feelings. And again, I also feel more of the, I never want to call it negative emotions, but let's call them negative emotions. So I feel more sad or more irritated, or I do notice that I feel more intensely again, which sometimes sucks. But at the other hand, I also think that that really makes it feel that you are more alive in a way. I don't know if that makes sense, but you feel more intensely again. And also with the libido that I mentioned before, I also do notice that is, it's back again, and it changed for the better in comparison to using Lexapro. And also the second part with regard to the having more appetite and gaining weight, I do notice that the appetite and the gaining weight, it plateaued for now, so I'm really happy with that. For me, it's still kind of a challenge to change my diet, and that's always something that I struggled with a little bit, because sugar for me is just really something that it's really hard to get rid of. And I notice that when I'm tired, or when I'm feeling sad, or with all these different things that I'm feeling, that I use sugar or chocolate or something like that to make me feel better. Or so that is something that I did also in the last year way more. So that's kind of a habit that I developed in the past year again, that I want to get rid of. So that's my goal also for now, that I want to change those kind of habits that I picked up in the last year again for the better. So the appetite is way less, but the habits are still there. So that is something that I have to change myself. And the third thing that I noticed, and when we really focus on the anxiety in comparison to Lexapro, is that I do notice that with the Wellbutrin, Some of the anxiety is also back, and I really noticed that in the first 2 weeks. But I also know that that is not a fair comparison, because I just stopped using Lexapro and I immediately started using Wellbutrin. So you're coming off one medication and you're starting a new medication. So the first 2 weeks, it's not a good representation of what Wellbutrin can do for me. And now in my 3rd week though, I noticed a difference in comparison to the first 2 weeks. So the first 2 weeks, I noticed that some of the anxiety came back. I noticed the hyperventilating a little bit coming back, and also the tingling sensation that I sometimes feel in my face when I'm hyperventilating or when I'm nervous. And I noticed that I felt kind of lightheaded again, feeling nervous again for some social situations. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to film another video in about 2 months maybe, I think, to really see what the effect of Wellbutrin alone is. But for now, yeah, I'm slightly positive about the effects of Wellbutrin. I'm gonna see and test what it does in the upcoming weeks, and then I'm gonna decide if I am going to continue using Wellbutrin, or if I maybe decide after a while to stop it altogether and to see what it is like again without any medication. But I still have the feeling that I need some kind of medication. But yeah, that's something that I have to figure out. So this is it for now. This is my update on why I quit using Lexapro and why I decided to make a switch to Wellbutrin. Yeah, let's see what it does in the upcoming weeks, and I will keep you updated then. And I'll see you in the next video.